So here's the hole. You can see, I don't know how clearly you can see, right in this area here is the burn layer. That's where all the trash got burnt. I'm going a little bit deeper than the burn layer, but this is where the dig is and where we're finding everything. And there's the screen we're using to sift it all out. 1/2 inch mesh. US dime is just over 1/2 inch.
She done something.
Yep. What did we find so far, Bug? Do you remember?
I forget.
You forget. Okay. Well, we showed a bunch of stuff.
Here's just what we found.
What is that?
It is... It's rusty. I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. Very good. Hello, fellow diggers! As you saw in the beginning clips, I've been doing some minor excavating in my side yard. So far, well, a couple videos ago, you may remember, I found a couple of them little teeny tiny bottles while digging for a obscure, weird target. I found one like this and one like this. Okay, that was the first one I found. Actually, this is a different one. The actual one I found is still in the house, but I found one like this and one like the one I showed you. And the signals in that area were just all over the chart. It seemed like somebody buried, a whole big bag full of tin foil and steel wool and God knows what else, rusty nails or whatever. So I got to thinking about it, and it dawned on me that, back in the early days, so to speak, the house was built in 1900s. So from that day until somewhere in the late 60s, early 70s, it wasn't common practice to bring your trash to a landfill. A lot of people just burnt it in the backyard. And so I thought, well, maybe since I found some charred tin foil down in there, maybe it was a burn pit. So I decided to do some excavating. And you saw the hole in the clip I showed you before. It's not all that big of a hole. I mean, it's probably maybe a 1/2 yard worth of earth that I dug out of there. And let me show you what I found. Okay, this is really cool. I'm going to start with the bottles, and then we'll move up to the actual metal stuff. Now the bottles, some of them have caps on them, so I probably could have found them, but they're steel caps, so I probably wouldn't have dug them because it would have rang up as iron, and I never would have found these things. Okay, some of these are really cool. Watch. So here's some of the bottles. Well, here's most of the bottles I found. This is one of my favorites. It's really cool. Whoa, it's almost broken. They all have threaded tops on them pretty much. So I mean, they're not that old, but they made threaded tops, caps for bottles back in the 30s even, probably into the 20s. I don't know what would have been in here, but I think it's funny that it's got this little pattern. Now that's crud on the inside of this bottle, but it kind of looks like a palm tree, So maybe this was coconut milk from the grocery store? I have no idea, but it's a really cool bottle. There's really no markings on it. There's just an 11 down here. You can just barely make it out. There's an 11. I found like 3 or 4 of these. They've got the little bumps down here. That was to help you grip it. These are actually, I believe, mustard jars from French's Mustard. There's 2 of those. This one's got a cool shape. This may have been, it's got an aluminum cap on it. So again, not that old, but still really cool. This may have been maybe some witch hazel or in a clear bottle. Typically medicine was in a dark bottle back then, but maybe some witch hazel or mineral spirits, something along those lines. This one I found today. This is a 2-day dig. This one, Actually found 2 or 3 of these. One was broken with a steel top. This may have been some sort of an elixir, maybe a syrup of ipecac, something along those lines. Same with this one here. This was probably a milk of magnesia. Bigger hole in the small bottle usually indicates a thicker liquid was kept in here, so maybe like a Bismol or some sort of medicine, or even like a lotion of some kind was in this one. This one's broken, but this is not a threaded top, so this had a rubber top that went on top of it. Maybe a I don't know, a jelly jar, maybe? Looks like a jelly jar, something along those lines. Then there's this one. You can actually see the applicator inside of it. So I believe, and I'll show you the reason I believe this one is nail polish remover. Okay, something along those lines, like nail polish remover or acetone, something like that. This one, this is all the research I could find on these. This one was probably some sort of a cologne. It's got sort of a masculine shape to it, like, you know, like broad-shouldered, gripped sides, you know, maybe an aftershave. It was probably in this one. This jar is wide open, so chances are there was probably pills in this one, some sort of aspirin or some sort of pills. And I found 4 of these, and I stumbled on these, and I couldn't quite figure out what they were. They looked familiar, but I wasn't sure. And then it dawned on me, they look like nail polish. Okay, so that would go with this one here, that's the nail polish remover and the nail polish. So I've got 3 of those. Okay, this one here, again, a brown bottle, typically denotes some sort of medication. So back then, this would have been maybe an aspirin bottle of some kind, big enough to dump the pills out of. This one is a milk glass bottle, probably like a cold cream or something along that description. Found this one today as well. And once I figured out what these were, it became clear. I found this one. You know, there's no cap, no top on it like that. You know, here's another one, a different one. There's no threaded end on this, so it would have had a rubber cap, like a cork stuck in it. Okay, this one here came out. It's just like the square one, but it's round. Okay, there's a few of those. And then I got one of these, just the same thing, the square bottle, okay, with a metal cap on it, right? And here's a better example to show you where I'm leading into and what these things are. Here it is, and here's the metal cap with the rubber gasket in there. Okay. Now the next one I found. Now there's a whole ton of these little tiny ones here. They are actually animal vaccine. Okay, because I found this round one, as you see it, and you can see that there is still a hypodermic needle in it. I've got to be very careful because it's stainless steel and it's very, very, very sharp. I don't even know if it'll focus in on it. It's so delicate. But that's a hypodermic needle that screws onto the stainless steel syringe that was used by the farmer here to inject his animals with vaccine, whatever that vaccine might have been. I don't know much about farming, but I do know that much. This little guy was a heartbreaker. This is the top piece to a tiny oil lamp, but sadly it's broken. There's a lot of broken bottles in that hole. But there's all the little bottles I found. Okay? That's cool enough, right? And your typical marble, your old school 50s marble. I'm going to reset my macro and show you the even cooler stuff. Alright, so here's some of the things we started coming across as we're shoveling out shovelfuls of burnt aluminum foil or tin foil, and burnt coal and burnt paper and stuff like that. This showed up. I believe this was a bracelet or some kind of chain. It looks like possibly a bracelet length, okay, or maybe a necklace that got broken. It is copper, but traditionally would have been silver or gold plated. They used copper as the base metal and then plate it because it was cheaper. And same with this, and most of the stuff you can tell just by looking at the color and the discoloration that it's been burnt, and it was common practice back in those days. Mama would clean the house and she would go hog wild and just sweep everything into a bucket, dump the bucket in the trash, and then it would get burnt. This is a lipstick. So Mama was a pretty girl. She liked to do her nails with the nail polish and the nail polish remover. She liked to do her lipstick, okay? And maybe Daddy, had a nice fancy looking bracelet they'd wear out on the town whenever they got to go out. And Mama would wear some nice jewelry too, because I found this. Now I scrubbed it with a wire brush to reveal its copper sheen and intricate detail that it's got, which is really cool. But you can see by the backside that I did not clean, you can see that it's been toasted. It's been burnt. So any hook that was on there, I'm assuming that's an earring. It looks like it would be one of them hook earrings. Or it could have been a brooch, one of them fan-looking things. Daddy had a fancy belt that had a belt buckle on it, like this here, that looks like a horseshoe. And again, cleaned up with a wire brush, because I know the stuff isn't 1800s. I know it's from the 30s, 40s, 50s, in that era. So I'm not worried about it being a, historical relic or anything. But there's the horseshoe buckle, which is really cool. This piece, Skeeter, this piece, I believe, it's a dainty little thing. I believe it's a watch bezel for, a lady's watch of some kind. Then there's this little buckle from a purse or web belt of some kind, maybe suspenders or overalls. Okay, then we have 3 wheat cents. Let me get the little lens on here. Probably not, huh? Can't see it. It says 1925 on that one. This one's going to be even harder to see. You know what? I'll just tell you what they are and you're going to have to believe me. This one is 1927. Real bad shape. You can tell it's been through fire. 1927. This one is 1925. Alright. This puppy is, see if you can catch it. 1946 on this one. Now this next coin is really interesting. It's from 1944 is the date clearly on this thing. And I thought it was a token because I've never seen a coin that's square. This is a 1944 India, from India, okay, and it is a 1/2 anna. You can see the 1/2, and then right across all that says anna. It's a 1/2 anna, basically a half cent, from India. And on the front, you notice it's got the king on there. King George the Sixth. Okay? That is because up until 1947, I believe, India was under British rule. But they were allowed to pick their denomination, carry it over from, keep in tradition with their denomination. And these square coins they had in different denominations. There's a half anna, a 2, and the 2 anna. Those are both square. There was a series of coins minted in the 1940 in the half anna and the 2 anna. The 2 anna is much thicker and a little bit bigger, all right? And they were made out of gold. I think it's 9-carat gold at the time, but still gold. So that's pretty cool. But even as cool as this 1/2 anna from India is, it's not quite my best find out of this 2-day dig. And by 2 days, I mean 2.5 hours on the first day and an hour tonight before my 6-year-old got sick of digging. That's why I didn't really film a lot of the dig, because my kids were helping me, and the wife doesn't really want them on YouTube, although you saw a little clip of the little man. But here it is. That which has eluded me since I've started doing this hobby. And the part that pissed me off the most is the fact that this entire dig, I did not use my metal detector at all, not even once. And yet, the spot I chose to dig, my 4th or 5th shovel full of deep dirt that I ran through the screen gave me a 1942 Washington quarter. I am finally on the board with silver. I have broke my curse, whatever it may have been. Again, my detector has not moved from its perch way up there, which you can't really see, but this is my prize. Once I found this, I kept going. That's where all the bottles came from afterwards, was after this. This is what kept me going for the rest of the dig. There it is. So there it all is, boys and girls. Finally got my silver. Happy about that. And all these cool bottles, which is really neat. That's the end of everything I've found so far. So, that's what I've been doing the past couple of days. I mean, I thought when I found one little bottle, I thought that was awesome. And I found 2 little bottles, I'm like, this is really cool. I've got 10 vaccine bottles, okay, animal vaccine bottles, 1 hypodermic needle to prove it, and then all of Mama's nail care stuff, lipstick, and all of Daddy's tummy remedy medicine from dealing with Mama all day long, as she kept throwing away all of his money and jewelry and throwing it in the burn pit. He didn't know where it was. So this video is dedicated to Thomas, aka Penny Digger. Hope you feel better, buddy. I know you've been through a lot. I've been following your videos, and I made a comment the other day to you, and I hope I didn't offend you. We were joking around back and forth, and I made one last wise-ass comment, as I'm known to do, but and I didn't get a reply, so I was a little worried that I offended him. Thomas, if I offended you, sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to. It's just kidding around. I don't think you're offended. I know you're probably busy flirting with the nurses. So, hey, seriously, buddy, hope you feel better. Congratulations on your weight loss. And, yeah, again, whatever you're going to do, make it good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Later.